Welcome to the Daily Gospel Talk Show with your host, George Sanders. The talk show and podcast dedicated to spotlighting great people doing great things. This is your opportunity for inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. So without further delay, let's get ready for another incredible episode of the Daily Gospel Talk Show with your host, George Sanders.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Daily Gospel Talk Show. I'm your host, George Sanders, and today we have another great episode. Today, we're speaking with my good friend, educator and talk show host, Monique Robinson. Today, we're going to discuss her efforts to get more kids into college, and not to mention her love for HBCUs. This is an interview you don't want to miss, and we'll have it for you right after this commercial break.
Attention ministry leaders. Have you ever considered growing your ministry with television? Well, the Daily Gospel Network could be what you've been looking for. As one of the nation's largest Christian broadcasting companies, the Daily Gospel Network broadcasts all over the world on popular streaming platforms like Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. If you're looking to grow and reach more people, the Daily Gospel Network could be your solution.
We're back with the Daily Gospel Talk Show. I'm your host, George Sanders, and today we're speaking with educator and talk show host, Monique Robinson. Today we're discussing education and more specifically, HBCUs. This is going to be a fascinating conversation. So without further ado, let's welcome my good friend, Monique Robinson, to the show. Monique Robinson, how are you today?
I am great. I'm kind of cold because I am not in Texas. I'm actually in Ohio for the holidays, but it's a temperature shock for me.
Yeah, I would say you reside in Texas, but you're from Ohio, and the temperature difference could be drastic because I live down south. I live right next to you. I'm in Louisiana, and I think it's like 70 degrees or something like that today. So
I wish.
yeah. Well, good luck with that, Monique. But listen, we are so happy to have you. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. And more importantly, thank you for being on the Daily Gospel Network. Your show has been on the Daily Gospel Network for, I would say, going on 2 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And we get awesome reviews on you. Everyone loves the information and the content and the guests that you have on the show. But for those of the folks that are in the listening audience that may not have seen your show, don't know who Monique Robinson is, tell them a little bit about you and your talk show.
Awesome. Actually, I have a Better Chance for You television, which came about, I guess you want to say it was birthed from HBCU House Party. Anthony Brown, the host, was like, look, you deal with kids and nobody knows about them. And you have these amazing success stories. So that's how it came about. So we interview a lot of our scholars are people that I actually have worked with. So they need their success stories told of their educational journeys, or they're actually people that I meet at different conferences and things that I go speak at from my nonprofit, which, was founded to educate people about HBCUs, as well as get minority scholars into college and through college debt-free.
Amen. And when I tell you guys that this girl had some awesome success stories, she has them. I've had the opportunity to be with her on a few episodes. I've had an opportunity to talk to her on a personal level and get to know her on a personal level. And I want to talk to you about a person who has a heart for children, and she is amazing. But some of these stories are like, what? I wish I'd have known her when I was in, high school or someone like her, Of course, I couldn't have known her in high school because she probably wouldn't even been born. But we're not going to talk about that, Monique. What we're going to talk about is the amazing things that you're doing and your advocacy for historically Black colleges and universities. And I have a special place in my heart for that because I graduated from the Southern University A&M College. I promise your co-host on your other show. And by the way, I want to mention that she's also on the HBCU Alumni House Party show, which is also on the Daily Gospel Network. And I promised her co-host that I wouldn't spend this valuable time with her bragging on the Southern University and A&M College. I won't do that. I'm not going to mention Southern University and all its glamour and glory. I'm not going to do that anymore. That's the last plug for Southern
Well,
University.
it's okay. Southern's band is always my favorite band, even as a child. So I get it.
And we just talked about that. The band is more important than the football thing. But when people watch your show, they're going to get a taste of you and your love for helping children and helping HBCUs. And that's important because this day and age, you know, we have less people going to college, less kids going to college. You know, literacy rate is ridiculously crazy low. People are not putting the importance in higher education as they used to. And I would say higher education, it may just be education, period, it seems like. From your perspective, Monique, what do you feel like a young person going to an HBCU, what does an HBCU have to offer them?
HBCUs, well, I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for myself. When I got to my beloved university, which is, you know, just put an important fact out there, Wilberforce University is the first owned and operated HBCU by African Americans. So when I got to Wilberforce University, I honestly did not want to go. Both my parents are alums, so I'm a legacy child. And I really didn't want to go to Wilberforce. I was like, I've been here all my life. I've been to every homecoming. I don't want to be here. But when I got there and quit doing everything to reject it and felt the love from the campus and felt the love and met some amazing people who I still talk to this day. it gave me that sense of family and the sense of who I am, especially if you go to a traditional school and you weren't successful. And it was almost like failure wasn't an option. You know, and I tell people and they kind of laugh about it, you know, but I'm very serious about it. I didn't know math until I got to college. Like I didn't know algebra, you know, I didn't have the passion to learn. But when you get somewhere and it's people that look like you and everybody's successful and everybody's trying to be something or trying to go somewhere, I do get it. College isn't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that kind of I think hurt me in a sense is that people felt I wasn't college material, but then when I got there, I excelled. And that's why I have such a passion for what I do. Now, I don't even think I told you this. Recently, my degree was conferred. So I'm technically Dr. Mo, but, you know, I'm not in it.
Oh, boy.
So I mean, that HBCU experience saved my life. It prepared me for the other advanced degrees and programs because had I not went, I probably, you know, would still just be doing everything else but valuing education.
Wow.
So that's
you know what I like about this, Monique, that you going to an HBCU not only benefited you, but now has benefited others. And
Yeah.
really that's kind of the whole mantra of going to a historical Black college or university. It's about the kinship, it's about helping others, it's about the need to help society, not just African American folks, but help society as a whole, be a contributor and be a positive participant in this experiment that we call life. And so I commend you on that. So obviously you and I may have a little bit of a slanted view because we did attend HBCUs, right? But
correct.
from the perspective of, let's say, maybe a mother or father who's considering their child going to an HBCU, or even a student that would be watching this episode of the Daily Gospel Talk Show, and they're thinking about an HBCU, you mentioned people that look like us. Now, that's a fact. When you go to an HBCU, you're going to see a lot of folks, and it's going to be contradictory to what you're used to seeing in society. You know, you go places and you see more of everybody else than you see you, and now you go to this place and you see nothing but Black folks, and you're like, okay, does that necessarily promote diversity? Does that Because I would imagine, okay, when you leave this situation and then you go into the quote unquote real world, and everybody
Mhm.
don't look like you, or everybody
That's
on your job doesn't look like you. In fact, you are back to being the minority on the job.
Mhm.
How, does it promote diversity? How does it, and promote, us being in society? Does it help? Does it hurt?
I would say it actually helps. If you get involved in various campus programs. Like I said, I was a soloist and a member of the university choir all years.
Mhm.
And we were able to travel to many places that most people do not get to go to. I was able to go to Cairo, Egypt twice. I was able to go to various expensive, I guess you would say, expensive dinners,
Mhm.
things that will teach you to be cultured that I didn't realize that I was going to have to embark on once I got into, quote unquote, real world. And then also, HBCUs are actually a melting pot. I mean, that's one of the largest myths that most people have is that, okay, HBCUs are just for African Americans. But if you look at several HBCUs, even if you look at some of the brochures, you'll notice that it's a very diverse population. But the thing that gets highlighted that only people see in HBCUs are historically Black. So, so
Mhm.
I would say it does prepare you more so than ever. And even some have internships or co-ops where you will get to go to different places and experience other cultures or experience job opportunities where you have to learn that real life sense, and it prepares you for it. Before I graduated, I did several co-ops in the mental health field and realized, okay, this is not for me. And then I ended up in education, which is still dealing with mental health in some sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
You
it
know,
prepares us. It does.
I like that, and I agree with you. I really wanted to ask that question so that potential students and parents of potential students can know that you're not just at a university and it's just like you only see one side of the world. You see literally people from all over the world actually
True.
at these universities from Asia, from Africa, from I mean just literally every single place on the map. So there is diversity there, and by having that diversity, you get a chance to understand how the global world gets along. You mentioned some of the resources. I too was very fortunate to intern and co-op at a few companies before I graduated. And much like yourself, I realized it wasn't what I wanted to do when I graduated. And so these things work out really to your advantage. And maybe that's
Hmm.
part of it. You do an intern and you do a co-op and you say, wait a minute, I thought this was what I wanted to do. This is not. Or for some people, it's what exactly what they want to do, and they end up working for the company when they graduate, providing they had a good experience and all that. What are some of the other resources that HBCUs provide that help with the success of their students?
Well, a lot of resources lately, because I have relationships with a large amount of the schools, is because of COVID and several things have happened in various areas. Social, emotional, and emotional intelligence is something that most universities are offering now, because a lot of things have happened socially to our young people. Some of the young people can't adapt to being on campus away from their parents.
Mm.
And I'm actually glad that these programs do exist because now the graduation rate is higher. Most people that went to school with me, I mean, I hate to say it, I'm glad they did go back and finish. But most of my friend group, they used to do the speech, look to your right and left. These people will not graduate with you, which was
Every
exactly
school
true.
does that. I remember being in freshman assembly. That was it. Look to your right, look to your left. The person you and I'm thinking, wait a minute, the person to my right and my left,
Mhm.
they're looking at me too. Wait a minute.
Right. And that to me is the most discouraging thing to ever hear.
It
But it
is
was a harsh reality.
reality. That's right.
In my friend group, I think it was like 2 out of 6.
Wow.
Even though the dynamics change, because like I tell young people, your friends are a reflection of you.
Hmm.
I tell them all the time that, and I was like, I didn't make good selections as a child, but when I got to an adult, okay, I have to make some better choices.
Yeah.
When they see, my friends, I want them to see that positivity too. So
Right.
I
No doubt.
don't mix and mingle in old places, if that makes sense.
Hmm. I understood. Like I said, we don't want to paint this thing as like everyone should go to an HBCU. I mean, obviously,
Right.
it's a choice based on who you are, your lifestyle, and what you're looking
Hmm.
for. But certainly, I would advocate it. By and large, what we do find is that HBCUs are less expensive than other
Hmm.
universities, and so you're getting a quality education
True.
for less the cost. And so it's a wonderful scenario for a lot of people. And I think you would probably concur with this, Monique, that sometimes just going to college, if a person's 17, you've got a young
Hmm.
person who's 17 years old, he or she may not know what the heck is going on in the world. It
Hmm.
is a great place to kind of find yourself. Would you not agree with
True.
that?
I would totally agree with it being a great place to find yourself. However, I encourage it's kind of like going to kindergarten, when you go off to college,
Hmm.
from looking at a parent's eye view. You want them to be set up for success, not to knock other schools, but it is because my HBCU that I think I went as far as education that I did, because I was getting pushed. I was getting, I use the analogy as coal. Coal doesn't become a diamond until it's pressured and people like press it really hard. And I feel like those are the stages that I went through in my traditional education. And then when I got to Wilberforce, it was like, you can be successful. I actually went to the honors convocation, and like 2 pages or 3 pages of people with above 3.0 GPAs, and then watching the success of the scholars that I deal with. Our record, because I'm an educator, I keep up with data.
Mhm,
But
mm,
our record, as scholars that are going through college, we're at 98%, and I think the only 2% is because they went to the military, and one is just had to come home because of family situations but got right back in school. So we, and I also had to show the kids that I believe in it too. So them watching me go through this doctoral process and knowing different things that I do in education and in the community, they're like, wait a minute, she's not just talking, she's actually doing it.
that's right.
So that's that's a big difference too, because there's a lot of programs out here, I'm not gonna lie, that want to offer services, but are you actually doing it because you want to do it? Or are you doing it because it looks good?
Yeah, yeah, and I see them all the time. It sounds good to help, young people, but,
Hmm.
the proof is in the results, and I can tell you that you, Monique, I can see it. Anybody that talks to you for 2 minutes can realize, your passion and your love for it, and it's not about some sort of money thing. In fact, I've even
Hmm.
pushed you to say you got to charge for some of this stuff. Stop giving so much stuff away for free. But I get it. It's your passion, and you've told me that. Why are you giving all this stuff? You do this and you do that, and you know, so I, I'm giving you advice that I don't even take. So, but we love people, and we
I
love
do.
doing stuff for people, and we love seeing maybe in some way it's kind of selfish. We love the feeling that we get when we see people succeeding from our efforts, and there's nothing wrong with
Right.
that, because we want that to be infectious. We want other people to have a good feeling when they do something good for people. So it's a mutually beneficial thing. That person receives something great of value from you, and you get a
For
good
sure.
feeling for giving it to them. So I commend you on that, Monique. Listen, we
Thank you.
you're that shining star that we always talk about, and I'm not going to hold anything against you that you co-host the show with this crazy person named Anthony Brown. I'm not gonna hold that against you. I'm gonna thank you for being the better half of that show,
Oh Lord,
and he's gonna kill me when he hears this interview.
he
Uh,
is.
but, but he also is a graduate of a HBCU, and you guys make a wonderful tandem on the HBCU Alumni House Party, and we're so happy to have you on two programs on the Daily Gospel Network. Now,
Thank
Monique,
you.
because we're going to talk a little bit more about HBCUs, but I also want to know, do you have any upcoming projects, any special guests
Yes.
that are coming up on the show? I saw something on, it was Facebook. I don't know. Is there some sort of webinar or something that's coming up for one of the HBCU resources that you have or something? I think I saw something about that.
Yes, we have a health fair. It's not until April 7th,
Okay.
but however, we are doing a community health fair at the one of the local libraries in San Antonio. Part of that is because we just, as a organization, when I had got sick last year, I was like, we need to do this because even I didn't know certain things about health. And because of that, I was like, we could just put it on at the library. It'll be free. We just invite every health professional that we know and they come out and give information because we have to heal our community. Like that was the most, I would say, the most scariest thing that I've ever experienced. I've never been sick in my life I have to stay in the hospital for like 7 days. Like it scared me. I went through so many tests and different things. And then I think Anthony came because we did the sneaker ball. The very next day I got out the hospital and he was like, "Are you crazy? Go sit down." No, but I didn't want to let our kids down and our award recipients and everybody was just like, if he told everybody, if you see her, tell her to sit down. So the whole night, everybody like, sit down, Monique. And I was like, well, I know. so, so we
Well,
have that, and then we have our annual sneaker ball where we award community HBCU graduates or HBCU supporters. And we just give out community awards just because some people, on the outside looking in, people see I get acknowledged a lot. Um, Literally from Buffalo to San Antonio. I mean, Buffalo to Seattle, literally. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like their light isn't shining too. So what we do is we create categories and different categories from scholars to businesses, and we award awards of appreciation and different things like that to celebrate various people. It also falls on my birthday and Anthony's birthday, so some people think that it's really just our birthday party.
it's like a 2-for-1 special. That's what it is. It's all good. It's all good. Wow.
So we that's what it is. But it's this year I will not be in the hospital, so this year I will be able to truly enjoy the event.
Well, amen to that. We love all the things that you're doing for the
Thank you.
kids, your advocacy for HBCUs. Look, while we got a little time, can you share one or two success stories of some of the HBCU graduates and students you've had an opportunity to deal with over the years?
Yes, I definitely can. I have one scholar who every time I look up, like she had me do like an ugly cry. Like it was bad because she writes me letters about her success. Her name is Mia. She goes to North Carolina A&T, and when I say she is the epitome of a model scholar, like she wanted to go, her had every offer under the sun for our scholarships, but NCA&T didn't really offer that much. And what I told her in one of our meetings is, look, when you go on campus, show them who you are so they will give you funding. And when I say I got a letter from her mom and her, and Mia has a 4.0. I believe it was a 4.0 when I looked at it. Might be a 3.8. So if I quoted wrong, I'm sorry. But she is on the chancellor's list. She's involved in so much on campus. And it's just like, you know what? I told her mom, what that's where she wanted to be, You need, and I think that's one thing that I would tell parents. If your scholar wants to go somewhere, do your best to get them where they want to go. Because if you go off of where you want them to go, they're not going to be invested.
Ooh,
You know.
yes, ma'am. And I love how you refer to students as scholars. I love that. It's not just randomly, young people or students. You refer to them as scholars. It has a certain ring to it. It has a certain power to it, and I love you doing that, Monique. I'm so happy to have you. Look, typically we kind of put in a commercial during our show. We're not even doing a commercial here today. I mean, everybody, but I do want to, as a commercial, kind of sort of something like a commercial. Tell everyone how they can get in touch with you. And then we'll put all your show information on the screen. But tell everyone if they want to get some information or some direction for their young scholar. You see how I did that? If they want to get some direction for their young scholar, perhaps to attend one of the HBCUs, you got connections with a whole bunch of them. And what direction? How could they reach you, Monique?
Well, they can reach me various ways, and I do answer the phone. I think that trips people out too, is that sometimes they call and I answer, whether it's a text or something, because customer service is very valuable to me. So I treat people I would like to receive service back. But they can reach me via email at mrobinson, mrobinson at abcufuturesinc.com, or they can visit us on the webpage, which is abcufuturesinc.com. And we're on all social media platforms, and the address is still the same. It's under ABCU Futures Inc. or A Better Chance for You Futures Inc. And we are on social media, and I do reply back. So don't be surprised if you call and you're thinking you're going to leave a message and I just answer the phone, because that's what I do. And the other...
He does answer the phone.
Sorry. Well, we have a cohort as well. That is for high school scholars. We run a Google Classroom. We meet once a month, and we teach strategies anywhere from financial literacy, how to adapt on college. We also talk to parents as well, because some parents are like, look, my scholar is getting it. How can I get assistance too? And that's been the new challenge for me, but I have been assisting parents as well. I'm all for everybody can get education. Now, if you're in Texas, in the San Antonio area, we have assisted the Ready for Work program. So that actually is in our newsletter if you need information about that. So we are not, I guess you would say, we're not hard to find, but if you open that door, we're going to run through it and help you.
Amen. Listen, she is like Deion Sanders. She ain't hard to find. She answers the phone. She returns emails. She returns text messages. Listen, if you are a parent, this is a resource that you don't want to pass on. Listen, education is still important. It is still important. Why not take advantage of it? You may find that your young scholar can actually go to school without spending any money. So why not take advantage of that? And so Monique is a wonderful resource. She loves doing this. She has a passion for this. We want to thank her today for her time spending with us. We also want to, so if you want to get in touch with, all our information is going to be on the screen. And we want to thank you for being one of the best parts of the Daily Gospel Talk Show. Our listening audience, thank you so much for tuning in today. And next week, I don't know we're going to be able to top this, but we're going to try to top this. Maybe we have to bring Monique back at a later date. So we thank you so much for tuning in. We want you to stay safe and let the Lord bless upon you. So until next week, we'll see you.
Thanks for tuning into the Daily Gospel Talk Show with your host, George Sanders. The talk show and podcast dedicated to spotlighting great people doing great things. Join us next time for your weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. So until then, stay safe and God bless from your friends at the Daily Gospel Talk Show and host